Good evening. Before I get started, my daughter's watching live, so I told her I would say hi. Good evening. My name is Tanya Barnaby. I'm a Mi'gmaq from Listuguj in Gesgapegiag. I want to begin by recognizing that we are in Mohawk territory, and I want to thank them for having us here tonight. I'm going to be giving a very different perspective than what you've heard tonight so far. I'm the executive director of the Mi'gmawei Mawiomi Secretariat, known as the MMS, which is the administrative arm of the political body of the Mi'gmaq of Gesgapegiag, what you may know as the Gaspésie. We represent the Mi'gmaq of Gesgapegiag, Listuguj, and Gespeg. The MMS takes direction from the leadership of the three Mi'gmaq communities on issues and topics of shared interest. The Mi'gmaq have title over Gesgapegiag, which spans from Rivière-du-Loup to Gespeg, including the surrounding waters. Our territory has been affected by energy in many ways. Our territory is littered with hydrocarbon leases for onshore hydrocarbon development, leases that were granted to these companies without any consultation to the Mi'gmaq. We are also affected by the potential offshore exploration at Old Harry in the Gulf. But tonight we'll be talking about wind energy. It is no secret that Aboriginal communities face an uphill battle when it comes to governing our territories. Hundreds of years of oppression and systematic racism, including the Indian Act, have caused deep-rooted social and economic issues in our territory. The Mi'gmaq of Gesgapegiag have been working together for over 15 years to create a better future for our citizens. In 2005, the MMS published the Nimitkinin, which means our story, our territory. This document outlines the vision of the Mi'gmaq and our determination to be self-sufficient and independent from outside governments. Our communities and citizens cannot succeed in the current state of underfunded education, health, and governmental projects. Our leadership took a hard look at the crisis in front of us and took an important step to closing the gap. The first method to this end is what brings me to this panel this evening: renewable energy. The Mi'gmaq of Gesgapegiag are in the end stages of the construction of a 150 megawatt wind farm. Our territory, Gesgapegiag, located in the Gaspésie, is a hotspot for wind development, with over 1,800 megawatts of electricity produced by several wind farms throughout our territory. Before our farm, McGill, which translates to big wind, the Mi'gmaq were nearly completely excluded from any revenues and royalties generated from these farms. These companies set up shop in our territory and barely gave us a second look. We made every effort to ensure that environmental protections were put in place to keep our way of life there with a minimal disturbance. Obviously, wind is a green energy, but its footprint is not completely invisible. With so many wind companies building farms in our backyard, it was important to the Mi'gmaq to monitor the cumulative effects that construction can have on our plant and animal species. When it came time for the Mi'gmaq to enter into the wind business, we were extremely persistent with Quebec and the government. Our plan to build a wind farm was not to be in the business of wind. We often say, we are building a wind farm, but we're not building a wind farm. Our end goal is to be self-sufficient. Our end goal is to generate revenues that will fund our own governments. So yes, we are building a wind farm, but we're not wind developers. We are nation builders. We were able to accomplish many things with the development of this renewable energy project in our territory. Some of those accomplishments were unexpected, but welcomed. First, we had often had issues dealing with other wind companies when they came into our territory, and when it came to asking them for extra environmental monitoring programs on their projects. They would often tell us that such measures would make their projects too expensive or they weren't requirements of the Environmental Protection Ministry and therefore unnecessary. When we built our wind farm, we made it clear to our partner Interjex that we would be doing so with Mi'gmaq values and interests in mind, which is first and foremost the environment. We created monitoring systems for plant species that were vulnerable to the area, where elders went out in the field to make sure that those plants and medicinal plants were available for use and that they were not disturbed. We performed actual field studies on various species where other companies used online data for their studies. We created seasonal moose monitoring systems to ensure that their habitat was safe. All aspects that other companies deemed unnecessary or too costly, we were able to do without much noticeable added costs at all, and we were able to improve the social acceptability of the project tremendously. Our wind power project has also put close to 100 of our own skilled Mi'gmaq employees to work. Their children can proudly say about Mesquigukjuzen, "My mom built that," or "My dad works there." These are just a few of the runoff benefits of our renewable project. But foremost, our project will generate much needed revenues to build our governance in our territory so that we can truly begin to manage our territory on our own with the values and interests of the Mi'gmaq leading the way. Thank you.